What if I told you guys the best offshore jurisdiction in the world actually isn't offshore at all, and actually it is Wyoming in the United States? So most people in this space are completely sleeping on it. Yes, I'm not too pro the US. Yes, I've had Wyoming LLCs before. I've closed them down. But yeah, let's basically go into it. So what's going on, everyone? I am Will from HPT Group, and we help entrepreneurs, digital nomads, international business owners set up companies, bank accounts, tax efficient structures all around the world. Additionally, we help with fintech solutions, citizenship programs, XYZ. We are essentially your one-stop shop for a lot of the services which you actually require as an international business owner. So we have a team of 6 people now. We've been growing significantly over the past 2 to 3 years. We were formed in November 2022. And I'm very excited to share with you, my comments today. So I obviously get asked a lot about British Virgin Islands, Nevis, Cook Islands, Seychelles, Belize. Again, all offshore spots, but increasingly, and my answer surprises people, have you ever considered Wyoming? Now let me explain why this cowboy state is actually becoming Switzerland of America. Okay, so first some context. Wyoming actually invented the LLC in 1977, 6 years after Bretton Woods with Nixon in 1971, and they literally created this business structure themselves. It's a fantastic actual vehicle to be using, and over the decades, guys, they've really refined the laws to be incredibly business friendly. So here's actually what makes Wyoming. It's a very private place, and it's some of the laws you would actually expect from the Caribbean islands. And at the end of the day, it is incredibly cheap to do as well. And you're going to learn why this is potentially even better than some of the operation companies. I use Hong Kong myself right now because I'm not too pro-US. We do have a US founder as well, an Israeli US citizen who, again, loves Wyoming as well. Okay, so let me break it down. Fact number 1, okay, and this is the big one, is tax treatment. Wyoming has no state corporation tax, no franchise tax, no personal income tax, and for a single member LLC owned by a non-resident with no US sourced income, you're looking at 0 US tax liability. Read that again. If you are not a US person and you do not live in the US and your income comes from outside the US, a Wyoming LLC is completely tax neutral. Now, obviously, you still have tax obligations whether you're actually a tax resident. So this isn't about evading taxes. It's not about creating unnecessary tax exposure in a jurisdiction where you have no real presence. Okay, so compare that to somewhere like the UK or Germany where you're paying 19 to 25% corporate tax just to exist. The Wyoming company starts to look very, very, very attractive, right? So moving on to why I do like it a lot, and again, I'm not pro-US at all, pretty anti-US if you want the truth. Number 2, we're going to be looking at privacy, right? So privacy is where Wyoming generally competes with traditional offshore companies. When you form a Wyoming LLC, the name doesn't appear on any public filings. You can use a registered agent, and only the name shows up on the state's register, as the agent. That's it. Okay, so since 2024, there's been beneficial ownership reporting requirements to FinCEN. This is the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. So the US government will know who owns the company, but that information isn't public. It's not searchable. Your competitors, your ex-spouse, random people can't find out you own this company, okay? For comparison, in the UK, as you probably know, Companies House is very public information. Number 2 is actually asset protection. So Wyoming has something called the charging order protection for single member LLCs. What does this mean in plain English, simply speaking, right? If somebody sues you personally, let's say you had a car accident, you're in a business dispute, they simply seize your LLC or its assets. They most likely get is a charging order, which is essentially a lien on any distributions that the LLC makes to you. But there's a little bit clever part of this. As the manager, you can decide when distributions happen. So if a judgment is against you, you simply don't take just distributions, and the creditor is stuck waiting for money that may never ever come. So most states don't offer this type of system or protection. Wyoming especially does, and it's written into their statute, okay? So number 4, whatever point we're on right now, and again, a huge game changer, and probably the most important point is banking access. So tradition of offshore companies, I own a fintech myself, you're on board with a fintech, 3S Money equals money, CCYFX, all of these banks online, right? But you're still limited with, you're using offshore payment merchant accounts, XYZ. With these US LLCs, you've got Stripe, PayPal, Mercury, Relay, and traditional banks all available through your Wyoming entity. And again, still trying to, get Stripe work with your Seychelles IBC. It's not going to be working, mate. Good luck unless you're paying ridiculous fees at an offshore or a alternative provider, okay? So are these great companies to have? Yes. Are there cons of them? Yes. But at the end of the day, they could be a great operational company. I use Hong Kong myself. I prefer Hong Kong. I'm not too pro the US, but if you simply want a company that's very cheap, very effective, got good privacy laws, then potentially that could be a good one to go to. Now, when we speak about the US as well, we could also look at Delaware. So Delaware would be slightly more interesting. It removes a little bit of those protective and private measures that Wyoming has. But if you're interested in raising funds from PE or VCs, right, then this is obviously going to be a great, much more advisable choice that we would obviously recommend you at HPT Group. So yes, it's good for e-commerce sellers, especially platforms on like Amazon or Shopify, XYZ. Again, consultants and freelancers working with international clients, it could be very, very good. Again, it can create a bit of a complication with doing business in the EU due to VAT issues. And if your clients are mostly in one specific country, expect a local entity. That's just pretty much the going business of what should be done. So, I see a lot of clients ignore their personal tax residence. A Wyoming LLC doesn't make you tax-free. Very simple. It's using the wrong structure, actually, and sloppy beneficial ownership reporting, especially after 2024. Very common that we've seen with clients. And finally, the LLC is great as long as you use it properly. So you need proper invoicing, proper contracts, X, Y, Z to then flow through. So how does it stack up against other options? It really depends. We cannot give one a linear solution. Every case, every client is different, you see. So at the end of the day, if you do want help set up a Wyoming LLC or another type of company structure, an offshore trust, get your EIN numbers, your banking introductions. That's exactly what we are here for at HPT Group. The link's in the description, just www.hpt.group/apply, and we'll look at your specific situation, your unique situation, and create a tailored blueprint for you moving forward. But yeah, if you got any more comments or questions, please drop a comment down below, like, subscribe, and I'm Will. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.